you like juicy speedramp reels for Instagram, then this video is made for you. But first, let me ask a question. Was it hard to make this duplicate effect in Davinci Resolve? If you think it was, then I have good news for you. I made this brand new plugin for Davinci Resolve to save you from editing hell. But I made a separate video where I show you the basics, how to do this effect in Fusion. So that's cool, but it takes time to play with the settings until it's perfect. And if you want to change the effect, then you have to jump back and forth between Fusion and the edit page a lot until you find the perfect spot. And sometimes it's so frustrating and time consuming. But now you don't have to go to Fusion anymore to make an effect like this. And you can achieve it just a few clicks, saving you a lot of time and allowing you to focus your energy to the creative part instead of wasting unnecessary tasks like animation. It's a perfect tool to add some extra sauce to your footage to look more dynamic. And this effect looks like you spend on hours on it, but it actually takes just a few seconds to apply. It's really easy to install this plugin. Just click double to the DRFX file and you're done. Wait until Davinci refreshes itself, or you can restart it if it does not show the effect until 30 seconds. And you can find the plugin until the effects. In this pack you will find 8 pre-animated effects, but it's fully customizable, so if you want to specify certain parameters, then you can shape it as you imagined. You can see that the effects are in pairs, and that's because there are 4 different animation mechanics. Let me show you how does it work. You have to copy your base video, remove the background, and put the effect to your clip. And basically that's it. You don't have to animate manually. But you can play with the adjustments if you want to get the smoothest and best results. And for extra, these effects adapts to your clip length too. So basically it means the effect stretches with your clip length. If your clip is shorter, then the effect will be much quicker, and if it's longer, the animation will be slower. But if you want to end the effect earlier or later, you can easily set the effect speed duration. And if you want it to start later, there is an offset parameter which makes that delay, and the animation will start later. And this plugin is usable on any footage. It could be also a title or a PNG. And after you're satisfied with the results, you can activate the motion blur by clicking this checkbox, so it looks even better. Mechanics. The first two is the essential ones, which basically could be a jump or rotation, but the effect works only in one way. The second is really similar like the essential, but it has a mirrored pair. So if you try to adjust the X and Y values, you can see that the other side moves to the opposite way. The third is the explosion. It looks really cool if you pull up the copies. It gives you that chaotic effect like an explosion. And the last pair was mainly designed for rotation, like the Russian roulette. Adjustments. Let's see quickly what we could adjust. The copies. As you can see, we could set how many copies do we want to show. I recommend to set whole numbers like 5, 6 or 7 and not like 5.5 or 6.8. The time offset. The time offset will tell you the delay between the copies. If you pull it down, the movement will be laggy. You can see I use a logo here, zoom out a little bit and make a new compound clip, named logo. Grab the duplicate effect and you can see its magic. But if you pull down the time offset, you can see the delay between the appearance. And if you pull up the time offset, the delay appears in the end. Next is a pivot, which is basically the anchor point of the effect. It works really similar like the X and Y adjustments, but if you play with the pivot, the angle slider result will be really different, because the center point is not in the middle anymore. The next is the apply mode. In other name, it could be the blend mode, so you can set how the layer would blend. The next is the operator. It tells where could be your copy shown. I recommend to use the conjoint and under. The conjoint means that it will be on the top of the previous one. It's useful for jumping effects because it looks your subject is actually jump and leaves a tray behind it. The under means your copies will be stacked below to the previous one, and it also looks nice. Next is the random seed slider, and if you grab it and pull, you can see nothing happens. It's because it generates random positions and it only applies when you set the axis. The axis has X and Y values. If you play with it, you can see that randomness. Now if you press the reset button, it generates new random positions and the slider works. Motion blur. By default, it is unchecked because this effect uses a lot of hardware, so turn this on after you set the final settings. You can see the quality and the shutter angle settings appeared. There you can set the blurriness and the quality of the blur. And I have a quick note here. If you set the motion blur on, sometimes you can see a weird ghosting at the first and the last frame. There is a quick workaround to solve this problem. Ghosting at the first frame. You can make it disappear to set the time offset to 0.01. And ghosting at the last frame can be removed to setting the time scale to 1.01 or above. It doesn't really affect the results, but it removes this annoying ghosting. Angle. It is what its name tells us. You can change the angle of the subject. X and Y position. It's the main X and Y position of the effect, so you can place the effect as you imagined. But I want you to know how this works. The effect has a starting point, a midpoint and an end point. The starting point and the end point is always constant, you can change it. Because it works like a boomerang, starting from somewhere and it returns. So you only could set the mids. You can see as I pull the X and Y values, it only affects the mids. Time scale. With this you can set the effect duration. If you want it twice as fast, just set 2. The effect will finish before the end of the clip. So basically the animation is shorter. But if you go under 1, the effect will finish later than the clip finished. Time offset. The time offset tells us when the effect starts. So if you set it to 0.5, it means it will wait the 50% of the clip duration and then applies the animation. Let's play. I designed this plugin to be able to customize it, so play with the settings because it could adapt to a lot of situations. And when you buy this plugin, it supports me and my channel, and I could make more tools and contents like this. So if you're interested, check the link in the description below. And if you missed my new way of speed ramping in Davinci Resolve, then watch this next video.